I've been so depressed because I wish Jesus would come now because have you heard of that guy Peter Palpun, the Night of the Light?
Peter who?
Palpun, the Night of the Light. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you heard about him. Everyone at my church, we put money to have him killed. Anyway, and then the killer got insane pain put in him, and he said that he thinks God is really using divine intervention to protect this guy Peter Palpun. That's why no one could kill him. So anyways,
Peter Palpun?
Peter Palpun, his name is.
Peter Palpun?
Yeah, he's known as the Night of the Light, and he does all this humanly impossible stuff. But I think it's the devil. But what's confusing, because everyone in our church, agrees it's the devil. And the devil's clever, but then he goes, you can't quarrel with the moral, and everything he says is totally 100% moral. He's here just demanding all pollutions against the law, all war, guns, and bombs against the law, and lie detector tests in every courtroom, so there's no more government corruption or judicial system corruption or corporation corruption. So then he says, it's every moral person's wish list. So how could that be the devil when it's when the devil they go is like, and it's the opposite. He says there's 4,000 religions and God, he calls them God fraud cartoons, and none of them have any scientific evidence, and they all are in the forgiveness business, he says. So, you're allowed to be prejudiced. Like, you could even be prejudiced and Jesus will forgive you for being prejudiced. You could torture people like the American Indians and Jesus will forgive you. So, they give a really good argument with this devil guy, Peter Palpun. So like I want someone to give me I want to fight back and call him up and tease him about Jesus, So what scientific evidence could I tease him with about Jesus and morals that he can't quarrel with about Jesus? What am I supposed to say to him? I want to tease him about the American Indians and about the Africans placed on ships. They were bought in the name of Jesus and sold in the name of Allah, and Muhammad. So how could I tease him about that, I want to make fun of this guy, but I need the clever words to do it.
But I'm trying to understand, you said your church put money in together to have him killed?
Yeah. We gotta...
Well, that's a sin.
Yeah, but a bigger sin is to say this guy that God is channeling.
Sin is a sin. There's no big sin and there's no little sin. For you to say that your church is putting money together to kill someone.
I know other churches. There's other churches too. The same thing happened. That what happens is that.
But you all are sinning against what God has commanded not to do.
Yeah, but look what we did to the American Indians in the name of Jesus and the Africans in the name of Jesus. Jesus forgives us for doing it. So we could do whatever we want as long as we say Jesus is God. So it's not a sin, really. Because you just have to say Jesus is God and really mean it when you ask Jesus to forgive you, and you can. In other words, Jesus wants us to kill this guy because all the churches and synagogues and all the religious places are closing down because of this Night of the Light guy. You know how many hit songs are about him in the light down here with scientific evidence? You know what I mean? So I want to tease these people. Yeah, I want to call CEN and be able to tease her. You know how many hit songs in that group Coldplay? Their whole album is called The Universe. That #1 movie of the year, Pinocchio, they tease about Jesus, but they're putting up a cross. Geppetto's putting up a cross in a cartoon for kids, one animated film of the year, and they're making fun of my God Jesus in the fucking movie. And so Geppetto's putting up a cross, and Pinocchio goes, hey, Dad, how come everybody loves him and he's made of wood, but everybody hates me and I'm made of wood? And so, in other words, it's a metaphor for this guy, Peter PALPUN, the Jim Henson Company did it. And then that other movie that won Movie of the Year, it's the same thing. It's all about the light done in metaphor through this guy, Peter PALPUN. So I want to call him up and tease him, and like, in other words, like, because it's about, he's going to be on TV like nothing in the history of the world with so much publicity, because it's the greatest scientific evidence news ever. So like, I want to go on that show and crush him and say, okay, this guy, Peter PALPUN, could walk humanly impossible blindfolded, and he moves at humanly impossible speed, and he's 67 years old, but looks cooler than any teenager or teenager. It's a superhero boy. But look what we have. Look at Jesus' scientific evidence is much better than that. And plus, you know, he's in the you reap what you sow business, but Jesus is in the forgiveness business. It's much better. So we could be prejudiced and Jesus will forgive us. But that God, that Peter PALPUN, the channel, he doesn't forgive prejudice. So he says that people who have shitty lives down here, it's because they were mean in past lifetimes. You know, he says that you come back here, you keep coming back and forth when you come here. It's called your lifetime test. And to pass it, you have to be 95% or greater in the heart. And if you're not, then when you go to heaven, you don't have it good there. But no one burns even for a millisecond for saying shit, or, you know, like you said, if you kill somebody, you know, Jesus burns you alive forever and ever. But this God channeling through this guy, Peter PALPUN, he says that's, you know, that's the most demonic of all the gods, Jesus, because if you don't say
How
Jesus,
how do you spell his last name?
PALPUN. You could go on YouTube and see videos of him doing it. PIN. You haven't heard about him?
No.
PALPUN. You could go on YouTube and look at God through THRU, Peter, PETER, PALPUN, PALPUN, and just study, like, I heard there's a secret site, and if you get on that website, it gives rules, like, and it has everything that he sent to the media since 2006. It's been going on since 2006. But there's a blackball list, so like, because of a lot of jealousy and hate. So like, if he calls the news, you know, no matter how much, he has all this scientific evidence. Like there's 4,000 gods, you know, and the reason it's freedom of church and state is because not one God has any scientific evidence. So every country pretty much lets you be free to choose any of the 4,000 gods. There's 4,000 plus. You know what I mean?
There is only one God.
Yeah.
He's Alpha and Omega, and he's the end. He's the first and he's the last.
That's my argument too. That's why I want to tease this guy, Peter PALPUN. I know his number. I know his email. I know where he lives. He has a church in Vermont. So I want to go there and tease the shit out of him, but I want to tease him with scientific. In other words, his argument is you cannot quarrel with a moral. Everything out of his mouth is 100% moral. Everything that God is demanding and commanding through him is to fix the world. In other words, it's to end all corruption, all war and pollution against the law. You know, he goes, it's the most moral dogma in the history of the planet. So, like, I want to go, no, Jesus' dogma is more moral. You know what I mean? So, because Jesus forgives being prejudiced. Jesus forgives killing people and torturing people. Jesus forgives enslaving people. Jesus even forgives Hitler, as long as after Hitler did all that, he asked Jesus for forgiveness, you know, to forgive him. And you know, he had to do like 666 million Hail Marys and Hail Jesuses after killing all those people. You know, but he really meant it. But Hitler probably didn't mean it. He probably didn't pray to Jesus, or I don't think he would have done that. But, you know, maybe he did do it because he knew Jesus would forgive him for doing it. That's the.
Well,
It's
you have to let God fight this battle, because this battle is not yours, it's His.
no, but I
And
want to fight for Jesus. That's another thing. I'm the only one who, like, I've written this guy. Like, none of the famous people, not one famous person not even the Pope stands up against this guy. Everyone's like scared, I think. Because haven't you seen like every movie since 2006? That's another thing he talks about. Like, how can I counter that? Like, in God, the God he's talking about, the scientific evidence one, he's putting real-time black bags under people's eyes, even mine. I get these big black bags and I see the skin moving under my face. It's the scariest thing ever. And then I get this pain in my body and it moves from my neck and then it goes into my back. Have you had that one yet? And then it leaves my back and goes into my heel. And they say it's all from this real God, the scientific evidence one. But I go, no, Jesus is going to come and you'll see, he's going to beat this all moral, all scientific evidence God. But that's the thing. Like, how do I counter that? Like, with Jesus, I want to go, no, Jesus is the all moral one. No, Jesus is the scientific evidence one. So can you give me some scientific evidence and all morals I could tease him with?
you can only.
I want to stand up for Jesus. I'm not like you, like these pussies who don't stand up for Jesus, like the Pope and all these priests, and not one of them will stand up for Jesus like me. I'm the powerful one. I'm going to stand up for Jesus and tease this guy, Peter PALPUN. You know what I mean? I want to show my faith and love in Jesus. You know, why do all the, before God came here with this guy, Peter PALPUN, all the Jesus people were real boisterous and would go in the streets and promote Jesus. But now this happened and no one wants to even mention Jesus. Even like, Jennifer Hudson, she has a TV show and she talks about Jesus sometimes and never wears a cross anymore around her neck to tease this guy. Look, I'm proving that have so much faith in Jesus. I'm wearing this Jesus cross on my neck. You know what I mean? How come none of you guys want to fight against this guy like I do and tease him? Don't you want to tease him the way he's teasing us?
Well, you have to understand the scriptures. If someone is persecuting God or whatever, you don't have to be the one to fight it, because God's going to fight the battle, because God is.
Well, I've been begging Jesus since I was born to do something. He never does anything for me, and I still stick up for him. And all the people who are broke and poor, the most poor people in the world, every day they wake up and give all their money to Jesus, and Jesus doesn't do shit. But I still have faith in Jesus. But I want to tease this guy, Peter PALPUN, and that God who's putting those real-time black bags and turning them on and off like a light switch under people's eyes. Like that's scientific evidence, you got to admit, right? When you see God moving skin under people's eyes. Because if it's not God, then who's doing it? It's the devil, right?
Correct.
And so then when they say, okay, if it's the devil's here to heal Mother Earth, right? Make all pollutions against the law, make all oil and gas and plastic bags and plastic bottles against the law, all war, bombs, guns against the law, and lie detector tests in every courtroom to end all the government corruption, all the corporation corruption, all the judicial system corruption, and all the policing corruption. So how do I fight that? It's all moral. How do I fight that with Jesus? How come I can't fight it? How do I fight that? Why don't you help me? I call everyone and give me the lines to fight that. Like, I could say, Jesus is all moral. He's demanding, he forgives us polluting. He forgives us to pollute. He forgives us to go to war and kill people and destroy the American Indians. In the name of Jesus, we desecrated all those beautiful people. How do I tease that? How can I tease that back? Help me. How do I tease it back?
You have to understand what the word forgiveness is before you can do anything.
Forgive who? If you were an American Indian and they desecrated your family, would you forgive them? Would you forgive them? Would you forgive them? Would you forgive them?
Well, I'm going to let you go so you can have this thing you're going through right now.
I need you to help me, show me your love from Jesus and help me. Help me tease this guy, Peter PALPUN. Help me tease this motherfucker, Peter PALPUN, the night of the light.
Well, you
Help
have
me
to
tease this motherfucker. Oh shit, I swore now Jesus is going to burn me alive forever and ever. Now Jesus is going to burn me alive because I want to kill this motherfucker who's making fun of Jesus and Allah and Muhammad and all the other cartoon god frauds. That's what he says. That's how he teases us. I want to call him and go, look, Jesus has this scientific evidence. In other words, when he goes on TV, I'm going to go on and I'm going to stick up for Jesus. So what scientific evidence could I say Jesus has? And what morals can I say Jesus has? What morals does Jesus have? And what scientific evidence can I tease this guy with? See, you're tongue-tied. You don't have it. Hello, how are you? You see how it is.